everything you need to know to visit the world-famous Singapore Zoo. The first thing you should know is just a little bit about the Singapore Zoo, and this zoo is amazing. I mean, I've been to a lot of zoos around the world, and this one is definitely my favorite for how close you can get to the animals. Now, what I love about this zoo is the animals, they don't feel like they're in cages or artificial habitats. They're in really great, open, naturalistic environments that you can go in and explore, and they can go in and explore you. I mean, you can't go in and explore with the lions, but with the little monkeys here, and with the Malayan foxes, the bats right back there, you sure can. Now, sure, some of the animals, they're definitely in an enclosure that they can't get out of, and that's good for you and for me. You know, the lions and the elephants, they're behind moats, but you're not taking pictures through glass or through fences, and so actually, as a zoo to like video in, this is the best because I get clear shots of the animals. If you are a wildlife photographer, Singapore Zoo is going to be your paradise. It was also paradise for animal lover Steve Irwin, known as the crocodile hunter from Australia. He named the Singapore Zoo the sister zoo for his zoo in Australia. Now, it's more than just Steve Irwin and I that love this zoo. It's actually been awarded world's best zoo by numerous travel publications. And you know what? The Singapore government gave the Singapore Zoo a really interesting award. They awarded it Singapore's cleanest toilet, and the toilets are actually pretty nice. I won't show them to you on this video because that will be weird, but it's also home to the world's largest captive colony of orangutans, which I'm not standing in front of right now. I'm standing in front of the chimpanzees, but you can see in this exhibit how there's a moat right there, and then the chimpanzees are in their awesome kind of like playhouse back there. Pretty cool. The second thing to know is about tickets, and you need to buy your tickets online. There are no ticket windows or sellers at the zoo. Adult tickets are 48 Singaporean dollars, child tickets $33, senior tickets $22. Oh, and the zoo is actually broken up into 4 different parks. There's the zoo for, I'll call it the standard zoo animals. There's the river park for the river-focused animals. The pandas are in there. There's the night safari for the night animals. That one opens at 7:15 at night. And then there's the bird park, which they're currently building. That one is for our feathered friends. Each one has a separate admission. You can buy a multi-park ticket that includes all of them for a discount. Now, if you're wondering if you can do all 4 parks in one day, I don't think so. I think it's too much. I think you can do the zoo, the river park, and the night safari in one day. Each one like a third of a day. Now, if a full day isn't enough for you at the Singapore Zoo, you can even sleep here. They've got a few glamping type tents that you can book to spend the night. Third thing to know is some information to help you get oriented to the zoo. And they've got these signboards everywhere, and they've even got like a QR code down here that you can use to download it. Oh, and they've got free park Wi-Fi too. But it's basically set up like a figure 8. The entrance is down here. Pick a way to go, either left or right. And then my recommendation for you, if you pick left, for example, is to do the left side of the figure 8. The restaurant is in the middle, and you can eat there, and then you can do the other side of the figure 8 and then come back around. And if you're going to any of the other parks right afterwards, they're within walking distance of the main entrance of the zoo, so they're all super convenient. Oh, and if you want to download the map early, here, I'll leave this QR code for the map up on your screen. Go ahead and scan it. 3, 2, 1. Oh, and they've also got lots of great signs to help you around your way, and if you can't read the words, well, you can look for like the heads of the animals on it. See, there's an orangutan right over there, and then there's a kangaroo right here up on Australasia. That's pretty funny. The fourth thing to know is about getting into the Singapore Zoo, and it's actually quite removed from the touristy part, the central part of Singapore, so it's not that easy to get here. There's 2 bus routes you can take, 138 or 927, or you can take the MRT to the Khatib station, and then it's about a 10 or 15 minute shuttle bus ride to the zoo. That shuttle bus ride will cost you $1. What I usually do to get here, I take a taxi or a ride share. It's about 30 minutes from the central district. I took a taxi today. It cost me 25 Singaporean dollars, pretty reasonable. And if you're worried about getting a taxi back home to Central, no problem. There's tons of taxis that wait here because that's really, I think, the primary way that a lot of visitors to Singapore get to the zoo. If you are going home late at night, because that's when everybody goes home, there's like a few dollar extra surcharge to take a taxi from here, but I think it's well worth it. Really not that expensive. Let's talk about getting around the zoo. Well, you're probably going to be walking, and a great part of it is that a lot of the paths are actually covered so that if it's rainy or if it's sunny, you can be out of the rain and the sun. I mean, not all of it, but there are some major paths that are covered. Do bring an umbrella just in case it rains. Now, if you're tired of walking, you can take the tram. This tram is included in your admission. It makes 4 different stops around the zoo. It's not narrated, but you can see quite a few of the animals like the giraffes and the zebras from that tram. You can pick it up at the Ameng restaurant right in the center of the zoo for stop number 1. And if you're with kiddos and they don't feel like walking, you can rent wagons for them right at the park entrance. That's gonna cost you a little more though. Now, on the note of walking around here, you know, there's not much air conditioning here in the zoo, and Singapore is hot, so do prepare to just be a bit on the warm side. My recommendation is to come in the morning because Singapore often has afternoon thunder showers, and so if you want your best bet to get here to have like the driest experience with the least people, get here at 8:30 at park opening. And then you'll be prepared if it rains in the afternoon to go visit the river park, which is mostly covered. The 6th thing to know is about the shows, and there are 3 main shows here at the Singapore Zoo. They perform twice daily. Big amphitheater like this, and then there's 2 smaller amphitheaters. The seating is first come, first serve. It's shaded, so you're not baking in the sun, which is nice. I will say that if you're not familiar with the Singapore English dialect, you might have a slightly hard time understanding, or it might take you a little while to adjust to the Singaporean English accent. All the shows are in English, but let's listen to this show for just a moment so you can hear what these shows sound like and know that it is actually English.
Hello, I've been to places such as Thailand, Cambodia, and the Philippines.
All right, and there's one more show that's not a show. At the elephants, they do elephant presentations 3 times daily that are basically feedings combined with discussion about the elephants. They don't call it a show. It used to be a show, but you know, it's kind of like SeaWorld and Shamu, that they don't want the elephants doing tricks, and now since it's more about the elephants and their natural behaviors, it's now called a elephant presentation. Oh, just an interesting tidbit, the elephant herd here is entirely female. No male elephants in the house. Okay, let's talk about the food. What are you gonna eat at the zoo? Well, there is one restaurant in the center of the zoo, the Ameng restaurant, and they have a lot of different varieties of food. They got local Singaporean food, including chicken rice. They've got wok specialties. They've got Western and Japanese. They've got Indian tandoori plates, so a lot of varieties. Expect to spend between $15, $20 for your meal here. Place your order outside, and then you come in and you line up at one of these windows to pick up your food. There are a lot more eating options out in front of the main gate. You can either eat on your way in, your way out, or if you're in the park, right here. This is like the one spot in the zoo you're gonna find air conditioning. It's a small indoor eating area, a bigger outdoor eating area, but I would say savor the air conditioning while you're in here. It's pretty nice. Oh, and there actually are 2 other places to eat. I didn't mention them earlier because why would you eat at these places when you're in Singapore? But I guess if you're with kids, they might want their Kentucky Fried Chicken. You'll find this in the kids area. And there's also a pizza deli across from the new kids area, though that pizza didn't look tremendously delicious to me. You know, one of the things I like about this zoo is because they basically centralized where the restaurant is and the gift shops by the entrance. There's not that much commercial activity in the actual zoo itself, which makes the whole zoo feel a lot more natural. I mean, it's not real nature because there's a lot of people here. But, you know, some zoos I've been to, like the LA Zoo, has like a churro stand every 10 feet, and that just takes away from the actual animals' experience, I think. So for my lunch, I decided on some of the Indian food because it's got big pictures and looked pretty fresh. I got the chicken biryani plate right here that's also got some like curry on the side, and I got the ice teh, T-E-H. This is the cold tea with condensed milk, and I can use the ice in it. And although the outside isn't air conditioned, it's got a lot of fans, it's pretty well covered, and so it's not too hot out here, and I guess it feels more zoo-like. I mean, I think, so this total was like 20 Singaporean dollars, which for like touristy attraction zoo food is, it's actually pretty good. And it's like $15 US for a pretty hearty meal. Oh, and speaking of these free-ranging orangutans, right there, behind me, there's the orangutan. Not in a cage, not in an enclosure, just up in the trees, right there. There's two. And there's also peacocks that roam the zoo, and one was roaming loose in the food court at the front gate. That's worth the price of admission, or in this case, you don't even have to pay admission to come to the peacock at the front gate. And now if you're looking for some cold dessert options, there's two in the food eateries right by the main gate. There's Inuka Cafe that has shave ice. I got the Bobo Cha-Cha right here. $4.50 with coconut milk, really refreshing. And there's also New Zealand Natural, where you can get some ice cream. And there's also like a little mini mart called Wild Mart, where you can get some cold drinks and also some really neat animal buns, like animal steamed buns. They're pretty cute. And you'd hardly know that that's the convenience store, but Wild Mart for the convenience store. Oh, and in addition to feeding yourself, you can also feed the animals. A lot of different animals have feeding time, so you can take a look at what time and how much it costs. The rhinoceros is $8 and it's $1.15. If you want to feed the elephants, that's really popular, you need to book that in advance online. And there's also like a height restriction for feeding. So right here it says you need to be at least 1.2 meters tall to feed the white rhinoceros. Oh, and actually it turns out you need to book all of the feeding sessions online, and don't worry, even if they aren't booked, they'll still get fed. The zoo staff will feed them too. That's a great time to get a picture or a video of some zebras getting fed. I'm sure they'll give him his lettuce again. Let's talk about some of the can't miss attractions. If you've only got a half day, what should you definitely see? The Fragile Forest, I think, is pretty cool. This is an indoor aviary full of hundreds of butterflies, and they've even got some fruit set up because, you know, butterflies like things that are sweet. But the Forbidden Forest doesn't end there. After another set of doors to keep the butterflies out, you come into the bird aviary where there's parrots and other amazing flying creatures that you just walk amongst. Oh, and there's even little land creatures in here too. Hi there. Oh, and there's even these guys in here. They call it the Malayan flying fox, but I know a bat when I see one. And I've never been 6 inches from a bat until today. And when it's feeding time, the monkeys know. They all come out to get their food. And they've even got the animal Zootopia made famous, the DMV working sloth. Now if you're here with young ones, they very well might enjoy the Rainforest Kids World. This is basically the children's zoo with lots of kitty animals, play areas. They're building a new one, and so I'm not going to walk you through all that much of this old one because by the time you come in 2023, this one might not be here anymore. Something that I'm sure will still be here though is the carousel, $4 a ride or 3 ride for $8. If you like reptiles, then you'll love Reptopia. Snakes, lizards, turtles, that sort of thing. If you don't like any of those animals, then you might just like it because this is one of the few air-conditioned attractions in the zoo. I'm enjoying cooling off right now. And this is one huge reptile. This is the Komodo dragon. You'll find him right outside Reptopia. And they really aren't kidding when they call these giant tortoises. I mean, these are big, but this one back here, this is like a huge tortoise. I've never seen such a big tortoise. He looks like he's coming right for us. He's coming right for us. Oh no, I think he's coming for his food right there. It's feeding time. Just like these, feeding time on the sign right now. And if you don't see the orangutans in their enclosure, it's because they're actually free ranging and they roam the zoo. Sometimes the keepers do have to bring them back in. By the way, the apes are not the only thing that are free ranging around here. There's a really big lizard right here. The zoo is pretty well out in nature, and so, you know, be careful when you're walking around the park, not just the aviaries. They also have a really impressive colony of baboons. These are native of Ethiopia. In addition to the animal exhibition, they've also got a cultural exhibition about a native Ethiopian village, what that looks like, to give you some perspective as to their native homeland. Let me tell you, the baboons, they're the smelliest of the animals I've seen today. I mean, of the animals I've smelled today. I mean, really looking at these guys feels a little bit like I'm watching the Planet of the Apes, you know, the movie where the apes take over. I guess in this case, it's when the baboons take over. And what's extra interesting is there's like a couple of mountain goats in there, and I think they're standing there going like, we are outnumbered, but one of the mountain goats has a baboon sitting on top. And then there's everybody's favorite, judging by the mob of people that were here to see, the white tigers made famous by Siegfried and Roy in Las Vegas. These also have a great habitat that you can see from above while they're exploring the river down below. Oh, and if you want to bring home a souvenir, well, then I think the classic one is the Aming orangutan from the Singapore Zoo. You'll find him along with a whole bunch of other cute, cuddly stuffed animals in the main gift shop, which is right by the exit, and they stay open until 7 p.m. And so now you might be wondering to yourself, Chris, what about the pandas? Where's Topher in the Singapore Zoo? Pandas are not in the Singapore Zoo. They are in the river park. They want more of your money, so you go to 2 parks and see them both. The good news is I'm going to see him next, and that video will be up soon. If it's done, it'll be right here. If not, I'll have some more of my videos from Singapore. You'll also find links in the description to my entire Singapore travel guide playlist. And as usual, I won't say goodbye because I'm going to see you in one of those videos.